Hello and welcome to the show. Listen, I just want to say thank you for joining us. We've got a great show planned for you. We've got a packed show today. So please stay tuned because this year is about the power of now. And you know what I always say about being the power of now. Now is the time to do what God has purposed you to do and what you know in your heart to do. This month is we're celebrating Fearless Fathers. That's our series. But today we have some extra special guests besides our fathers. So you're going to meet Dr. Luis Almeida, Mr. Kenneth Braswell, Judge Tamara Curry, and Councilwoman Dolores Frazier. So I just want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy because it's coming up next. The Cecil Williams, South Carolina. The Curry Insurance Agency has served the community for over 30 years with hundreds of trained representatives to assist you in selecting health plans. Curry Insurance Agency is the largest marketing insurance group in the state of South Carolina for Medicare Advantage and represents all major health carriers. Curry's motto is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Call the Curry Agency today at 803-536-0889. Welcome back to the show. I told you we've got a packed show for you. You're going to meet some fabulous people. The first person you're going to meet is Charleston County Associate Probate Judge. She's one of the probate judges there in Charleston County. She's also the co-owner of Curry Law Insurance, PA. She's a graduate of South Carolina State University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. She's a devoted wife, a loving mother, and my dear friend who we grew up together. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Judge Tamara Curry. Come on out, Tamara.
Oh, how are you?
Fine. How were you?
Excited to be on your show tonight. Definitely.
Well, I listen, we see each other and we get to hug and talk, but this is the first time you've been on Tammy. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's an honor.
It is and it's an honor for me to have you on the show. The reason I want to talk to you is because I didn't explain to people that now you are running for probate judge in Charleston County. And so I want you to kind of tell us what probate court is and those duties as a probate judge.
So the probate court, traditionally, the thing that most people are familiar with is when an individual passes away, their estates have to be probated, whether or not they died with or without a will. We also preside over guardianships and conservatorships. That means if an individual is incapacitated to the point that they need assistance with their day-to-day care or with their finances, they may need a legal guardian and then a conservator to help them with their funds. But we also preside over what we call a therapeutic court for civil commitments for individuals who have mental health disorders and individuals who may have substance abuse disorders. And then lastly, the one happy thing that we do is we also issue marriage licenses.
Wow.
Okay. And in our court, and I'm not going to describe those, we actually also preside over 4 specialty courts.
Okay. So this is a question that I've been burning to ask you about. Why have you decided to run for probate judge now?
I've been an associate probate judge for 22 years, and there are some things that I believe would assist all of our citizens in Charleston County. I believe that I am that change agent to assist with about 4 things that I truly would love to implement if able to do so in the probate court.
And what are those 4 things, if you can share that with us?
The first is I am a stickler with education, and I truly believe that all of our communities need to know the importance of having a will, a power of attorney, and a healthcare power of attorney. And so I want to provide that education to all of our citizens. Secondarily, there is a huge amount of heirs property in the entire state of South Carolina, and that means that individuals who have heirs property don't have clear title to their land and often lose their land for failure to pay taxes or failure to probate previous estates. You have developers who come in who try to force the sale. And so there are things that would assist educationally. And so heirs property is a huge part of that. But not only that, Charleston County is a little over 90 miles long and 25 miles wide, and all of our citizens pay taxes. But it's very difficult sometimes to have access to the probate court because of the distance, whether or not you live in McClellanville or Parkers Ferry or Edisto. Even right now with early voting, there is only one place, which is our voter headquarters, where you can actually do early voting. Some of those individuals, it takes an hour to get there. And I want to be able to provide services to those particular rural areas, all of Charleston County, and to make my staff more accessible. And then the last area that I am running on, and it has to do with elder abuse and elder fraud. We have so many seniors who individuals have come in and tried to manipulate, provide fraud in terms of their money. And we have seniors who just will get on the telephone and give somebody their privileged information. Sometimes that fraud comes through family members, oftentimes outside individuals. And so I want to educate the community on what needs to be done, how to identify when elder fraud takes place with any of our seniors.
Wow. And, that's a big one with me as well, having taken care of my mother and father before they passed away. And, like I said, we go way back. We grew up together. We tell the whole story. We have been together for a long time. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I just want to tell you congratulations. I know you're going to be a great probate judge. I'm calling it now.
Thank you.
And we want people to get out on June the 14th as well for
More
the primaries.
Definitely. Yeah. Early voting in the entire state started not this past Tuesday, but Tuesday before last, and it ends tomorrow. So if you do not vote by 5 o'clock tomorrow, you have to wait until the 14th.
That's right.
But whatever you do, the most important thing is to vote.
And that's the message. I wanted to ask you, what was the message that you want to say to the viewers before we close out?
The most important message is each one take one.
All right.
Everybody take someone to the poll and then tell that person to take someone to the poll. It's extremely important that our young people get out to vote, that normally individuals 50 years and older are our average voters for African Americans, but we have to encourage our millennials, Gen X's, everyone. We have a lot at stake. Even the way the district lines have been drawn in our states is extremely important to know where you need to go and vote, and to definitely don't give up your right to vote.
That's right. Well, Judge Tamara Curry, I'm so proud of you. And I want to thank you again for joining the show. I have one last question for you. And I do want to say to the Reb and to the attorney, happy Father's Day, and all the grandkids and the children. Everybody, tell everybody I said hello.
Thank you very much.
But that last question, 3 words that describe you.
Dedicated, devoted, and caring.
All right. You heard it right here. Dedicated, devoted, and caring. So let's get out early voting. And that's Judge Tamara Curry, Associate Probate Judge. Thank you very so much.
And thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. Take care of yourself now.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, you heard it right here. Judge Tamara Curry. Listen, it is time to get out and vote, the early voting. I usually talk about something in the beginning when I talk about what's on my mind, but yes, please get out and vote. Each one take one. I love what she said. And she also, mentioned education. All these things are so important as we're looking at these elections. So let's guess what? I want to introduce you to the next guest that's coming on, and he's coming on right after the commercial. So we'll be right back.
The Cecil Williams South Carolina Civil Rights Museum is the Palmetto State's first and only museum. It honors a generation of people, black and white, throughout the state of South Carolina who deserve to be remembered for their unselfish commitments and sacrifices. Enjoy an immersive and entertaining virtual tour. For more information, visit www.cecilwilliams.com.
Welcome back to the show. Well, I told you we've got a packed show, so I want to make sure I talk to everybody. The next guest, I'm excited because he's the Associate Professor of Mass Communications at Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. He's a recent winner of the Telly Awards. He is a social media specialist, but I heard he's a master, a dedicated father to his daughter, Sophia, and a dedicated husband to his wife, Amanda. Come on out, Dr. Luis Almeida.
Tammy, here you are. Yes. I love your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Doc. I am so
Yeah.
appreciative and so glad that you could join the show today. Listen, I could talk about Claflin. We can talk about Claflin. We want to say hi to everybody at Claflin. I know you want to do that. And your students. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, because the students that you have that work with me right
Mhm.
here on the Tammy Show, our production team, they are phenomenal. And it's because of professors like you that really help make this possible. And so I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Felicia and Fiona are incredible. They're
Yes.
amazing students. And Felicia, has done a lot of great work this past semester. She's in fact putting together a club, which
Mm.
I suspect is going to be one of the most popular clubs at Claflin University.
Well, all right.
So, just saying.
He just putting that out there, right? Doc?
Mhm,
Hey, listen, that's great. And then Tiana graduated,
mhm.
success story.
Yes, she's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you. You came on the show to talk about being a father. It's great having you on because you're a professor and you are a father. So, I wanted to talk to you. What were your first thoughts when you found out that you were going to be a father?
Well, my first thoughts when I found out that my wife was pregnant was,
Hmm.
wow, I wasn't expecting that. It wasn't planned. And I have asked God for many years to have a kid, and the Lord has decided to give me a kid when I was 39. So I was silent when my wife Amanda said, Luis, I am pregnant. And
Mm.
it was one of those moments that you just sit down. And I remember being in my bedroom, and honestly, I never felt so calm in my life, which I have heard stories of other fathers who were
Mhm,
not expecting a baby to be all nervous and I say, "What is this?" I love
mhm.
it. Why did it take so long? So yeah, Sophia's a cutie. We had a great time. In fact, Felicia and I and Sophia, we just had a conversation via Facebook Live, and Sophia was like dancing and talking with Felicia. Felicia's incredible. So yeah, it's I don't know. I
Right,
think I was
right.
born to do that.
Yeah, we have a picture of little Sophia. Do you mind if we
Oh,
share that?
yeah, please do. Please share.
Yeah. So we want to see.
Ooh.
Oh, look at her. And how old is
Oh.
Sophia now?
Sophia just turned 9 years old, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Mhm.
You're gonna have a teenager on your hands soon, Doc. You got things ready so when the guys come, you can run them off.
Hey, hey, Tammy, it's already starting.
Oh,
I don't kid you. I am not kidding. So
wow.
when we come to our place, I don't, the neighbors, there's a kid, this kid from Puerto Rico, great kid,
Hmm.
but he would, when Sophia is coming, and he says, Sophia, and I say, well,
Oh.
who's calling my daughter here? And that's the kid again, you know. And
Yeah.
then when she's the swimming pool, and then the kids will get close.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's already happened. She's 9. And I say,
Wow,
well,
9 years
easy.
old. Yeah, easy, easy. So, what is your favorite thing to?
My favorite thing to do with Sophia is to play the ukulele. I
Mm.
decided to, yeah, we spent some good time playing instruments and music. I do have now here, as you can see here, this is technically my studio. I'm organizing things around, so
Hmm.
now it's pretty it's pretty empty. But this is usually a studio where we record music and so on. And and then we have been working on the ukulele for this past few months. Now that ukuleles are being introduced in elementary, middle schools, and we're doing a lot of work to be able to get her up to speed. She has a great voice.
Mm.
So by training her how to do that kind of work and allowing, enabling her to be able to express herself through music, we feel, my wife and I, that the Lord is calling us to do that at a
Oh.
very early age. So we do a
Hmm.
lot of this, and with that, there comes the importance of talking about, well, number one, being with God, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
then the music that we sing, those are mostly Christian songs and hymns. And we have also the opportunity to have our time together, which in my view is very important when we talk about the maternal side of raising a child, and of course having that component in the life of a kid is important, but it is
Hmm.
also, it is also
Oh, yeah.
the life of the father. And that's how I play. We play music and we talk.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. So listen, we may see her as the next superstar. And so I do a kid show where I
Oh,
have kids on during the month at one point or another, and I talk to different people. And so I hope that I'll get to talk to Sophia.
oh, I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
she really is a. I mean, I'm very critical. Tiona, Felicia probably can tell you. I'm constantly. If it's not incredible, we're not going to send it up. And
Okay.
the kid is good, and it's not
Wow.
because I'm her dad. I mean, she's good. She's a good singer, and she's starting to get the ukulele pretty good.
Hmm.
So, and that kind of stuff. With matter of fact, I'm talking with her right now about playing Brazilian music because I was born in Brazil,
Yes.
and and it happens that those songs they have a reggae beat. So we're
Ah,
talking about the how to play that,
yeah.
which transfers also to music from Hawaii. It's interesting. This household
Oh.
here is multicultural.
All right. Listen, I did learn obrigado.
Obrigado. Yeah.
Obrigado. See, yeah. So, Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Portuguese.
speak Portuguese. So
I
let's
do.
talk about this. As we're talking about you being a professor at Claflin University, how do you balance your career and spending time with your family and your daughter?
That's a very good question. The way of how I do that is number one, to keep my eyes. This is what I talk to my daughter. This Sophia knows this very well. God first. We joke that Sophia is second and mom is third. But anyway, you know, but it's God first,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Family second, and then
Mhm.
maybe tomatoes third, and so on. But
Yeah. So that's wonderful that you said that because that helps you as you are doing that balancing act. Because as I know from your students, they say Dr. A. Now that's what they call you. They say Dr.
yes,
A is the best.
oh, they're
I've seen
kind.
your work. I've seen what you've done with Felicia and with Tiana,
They're
and
great.
I mean you are phenomenal. And I
Oh, they're
heard from
kind.
little Birdie that you were a master at social media. So I did
Yes,
hear
yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. And again, the decisions that we make in our household, Tammy, they are decisions, they are based on the Lord. And when I decided to to understand that we don't live for us, we live for God,
Yes.
and do what the Lord wants us to do rather than what we want to do. You know, I was able to balance my life focusing what the Lord wants done. And one of the things that ended up happening organically, I'm a professional photographer and videographer.
Mm-hmm.
So with the advance of social media, with the new media, and social media in particular, I spent a good 6 months. I did a research study, a long content analysis was published in an international journal, has been used by multiple professors nationwide on the strategies and tactics and techniques of growing social media accounts, which is a hot topic, right?
Yes.
And that's precisely what we talk at the university. We're starting just a new campaign and show the kids how to produce micro and macro content at scale to be able to help them to see how this is actually done in practice, which got a lot of attention for the University of Florida. Department of Jazz Studies. Say, oh, Luis, would you come? You would be one of our consultants. And say,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm flattered. So yeah, I mean, this is a lot of what I do. In fact,
Wow.
I just gave a keynote at the MedCom, which is the World Conference in
Mm-hmm.
Mass Communications worldwide, on a topic. So yeah, that's
Wow,
true.
wow. Listen, now you talk about juggle. So let's talk about your childhood. As a father, what did you learn from your childhood that you are taking with you now with Sophia?
You know, I had a very interesting childhood. To answer your question, what I learned from my childhood is that there is never a guarantee that success is going to come when you expect the success is going to come. There is
Mm-hmm.
always a time where the Lord is going to reveal your success as you keep doing the work for his glory and so on. When I was a kid, I played a lot of sports. I was, in fact, most folks at Claflin don't know this. There is one now, you, and then so then I'm gonna ask everybody who's watching the show, don't tell anybody.
Okay, we keep it a secret.
Let's keep it a secret. But I played for the Brazilian national team in golf in a couple of occasions, and to this
Wow.
day, I still have my professional golf. I'm a certified professional
Wow.
golfer, master professional golfer in teaching. And I never really understood why, why am I a college professor? Now I understand. But
Mm-hmm.
back then, when I started thinking about why I'm not on a tour, what happened here?
Right.
And the last, because a lot of what I did when I was a kid was to play golf. I was playing
Mm-hmm.
golf since the age of 10 until 20, close to 24, nonstop.
Wow.
Only the Lord knows how I graduated from high school. I didn't go to class. Now I'm a professor. You know, the Lord has a good sense of
Yes,
humor.
he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Wow, you play golf. So listen, we're not gonna say it too loud, but if Tony O'Neill gets a hold of it, AD at Claflin University for that Claflin Golf Classic, I think you're gonna be the next in line. They're gonna be
Yeah,
calling you. Yeah,
I'll play.
yeah. Oh wow, that's great. So talk about um, your fondest memory of your childhood.
Yeah, when I think about growing up in a different country, and amazingly, that memory is not with golf. Golf was too mundane for me. I was used to go to tournaments. And of course, whenever you play an open tournament in a different state, there is no doubt that there is different types of experience that you can't forget, like going to a churrascaria, which is the name of this Brazilian steakhouse in the south of Brazil, which is pretty close to Argentina, where you have the best cuts. So you remember that.
Mhm,
Or a time that we drove the bus, or the bus drove us, rather,
mhm,
where we end up going again to the south, well, close to the south in Sao Paulo, which is southern than Rio, where I was
mhm.
born, where one of my friends was in a bathroom for about 10 hours. I mean, this things you don't forget. I know. It's crazy. But 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 something that I don't think I can ever forget is being at the beach. Brazilians from Rio de Janeiro, either they play an instrument, they do martial arts, or they surf.
Mm,
So one of the things that or they go out and walk with skateboards and so on. I
right.
kind of did all of them, and but I cannot tell you how cool it was to be this place called Prainha, which is in Portuguese means small beach,
Mhm.
where I was surfing with my friends and so on, with reggae music, by the way. And I don't think I ever going to forget that as
Mm,
a moment in my life, as how, I guess, grateful I
mhm.
was to being, well, number one, living in a tropical country in a day that nature was literally perfect
Mhm.
and weather incredible with your friends, and I say, man,
We
um,
blessed.
what can I say? Yeah,
We
it's exactly
blessed.
right. And the blessing is not anything material. There is a lot of these thoughts, I guess, in our society, that you have to have a lot of all this extra stuff to be happy. And I don't know about that.
Mm,
So again, it's nothing financial, rather was the power of nature and how nature was affecting me at that time, always with the Lord. So
wow.
that something I don't think I'm ever going to forget. I still
Wow.
remember to this day.
Yeah, and I can see it as you're describing it. I can see it. But I want to ask you because we're going to get ready to close out. But I want to ask you about your takeaway, the takeaway that you want fathers watching. What do you want them to glean from this interview?
Well, Tammy, if I can say one thing with a lot of enthusiasm, number one, be a dad.
Mm,
No matter if you're married, no matter if you are not married, you're a dad. You have a responsibility to have an impact on the life of a children. And I say one more thing, if I may,
yes.
that that the moment that we marry, anybody, right, who has a kid, you dad. You dad. You still have to do that. That doesn't change. So that's number one, be a dad. Be somebody who's going to have an impact on the life of your child, whether that child is yours, whether that child is from the person that you have married or you have adopted. It doesn't matter. You
Mm-hmm.
dad, you dad, you dad. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And and the second is keep always your eyes on the Lord, Tim. And I'll tell you why. Because there is difficulties in this life. And parenting is no different. The difficulties that we have, sometimes we have to solve difficult problems. So having God on our side is very important, very good.
Mhm.
So dads out there, keep the
That's it.
eyes on the Lord.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. Keep your eyes on the Lord and be a dad. So the three words that describe you as we're moving on.
Well, those are simple. Number one, man.
Hmm.
Number two, Christian. And number three, loving.
Oh, man, Christian, and loving are your three words.
That's
Well,
it.
Dr. A, listen, I'm telling you, I enjoy having you on the show. I've heard so much about you, and it is a pleasure to have you on today. And thank you so much for sharing all
Thank
of your
you.
thoughts and just giving us these tidbits.
Of course, that's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Felicia and Tiana are incredible. Just say hello to them. I miss them both.
They backstage. You can see them, but they're waving and clapping.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you so much for always commenting on the shows. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
that coming from you. That means a lot, Dr. A. All
For sure.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, give everybody my love and God bless you. And you
Bless you.
keep it moving, sir. They love you over there. We love you at Claflin. So you take care of yourself.
Thank you. You're so kind.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining the show, Dr. Luis
Yes.
Almeida. I got you.
You got you.
Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye bye. Wow. I'm telling you, great show, great show. If you don't learn anything from everybody that you've been listening to, you talk about dedicated, devoted, and Judge Curry, she said caring. Then you hear from Dr. A, man, Christian, and loving. And so these are the things that we take with us. So anyway, we're going to be right back because you're going to meet the next person, and she's phenomenal. Be right back.
The Curry Insurance Agency has served the community for over 30 years with hundreds of trained representatives to assist you in selecting health plans. Curry Insurance Agency is the largest marketing insurance group in the state of South Carolina for Medicare Advantage and represents all major health carriers. Curry's motto is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Call the Curry Agency today at 803-536-0889.
Welcome back to the show. Well, I want to introduce you to our wonderful next guest. Well, I know she's phenomenal. That's one thing that I can say about her. She's amazing. She is outspoken and she will tell you like it is. She is the city councilwoman for Orangeburg County Council District number 6. Her name is Mrs. Dolores Frazier. Miss Dolores Frazier. How are you, Miss Frazier?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Well, listen, we want to make sure that we put district number 6 on there, Tiana, so that
Yes,
everybody
please.
knows that she is Councilwoman District 6, Orangeburg County. So I'm glad you could join the show. Thank you so very much. First of all, just tell us where you're from.
I was born and raised and reared here in Orangeburg on the Edisto Drive in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Wow. And so when I ask you, the reason I wanted you to come on is because you're a woman who is a phenomenal woman and amazing to me. And I wanted to ask you, why did you want to be city council? Why did you want to be a city council woman?
I have a vested interest
County.
in my community. Number one, I was born and raised here. I went to school here. I am a product of the public schools. I also attended area trade, is what it was when I was there, and then South Carolina State University, and I'm still here. Matter of fact, I'm only a few miles away from where I was born, is where I'm living now.
Wow. So now what made you want to run? Because I know, as you said, there are a lot of things that you're close to your community, you love your community, but what made you want to run? Because when women run, it almost is like they have a lot of challenges in front of them running.
Yes. Well, what happened here, I have worked on many campaigns in the past, starting with Judge Matthew Perry, Earl Middleton, registering people to vote. Many a times I would go and take, my time out on Saturdays, on the weekends, and register people to vote many, many, many years ago. And from then on, I just didn't see the interest in wanting to be anything. And then when Clyde Livingston got sick, someone said, "Why don't you run for Clyde's seat?" And I said, "Well, I'll think about it. I'll sleep on it." And I did. And my sisters, my family, and all said, "You've been doing all of this work all the time. You just must go ahead and get some credit for it." So what I did was to sign up for it. And as it turned out, lo and behold, everybody believed in me. They trusted me, and a whole lot of people, my constituents, know exactly what I was doing. What I was doing was before I even became an elected official. And one of the prizes that I enjoy most of all is the sewer project on Edisto Drive. Would you believe it, 15 years ago, before all of this went down, that people were still living in outdoor toilets? Okay. And this was right behind my mother's house. And I would go to county council, and every meeting for 3 years, not elected now, Clyde was there. I would go, and it would be sewer, 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 sewer. Sometimes I would go there and just stand at the microphone and just look. And then I would say sewer, and I'd sit down because I ran out of stuff to say, but we needed the sewer on Edisto Drive. Clyde some way down the line, got in contact with the feds, and they did a grant, and we were able to do and receive almost $4 million to start the sewer project on the Edisto Drive. Since that time, fast forward, it is now going to the Edisto High School. And I feel real good that because of what I have done in the past, that the people in the community are reaping the benefits of what I did. And I was not even an elected person. Okay.
Wow. Wow. And how long have you been an elected official?
Well, I was sworn in 4 years ago, be 4 years coming January.
All right, and we're getting ready for another election, right?
Yes.
So, Mr. Lars, what has been your greatest accomplishment? What would you say your greatest accomplishment has been?
My greatest accomplishment is with the sewer. You know, that is one of the greatest, or should I say the first, which I appreciate. Now, there was another situation which happened on the Edisto Drive. Lots of people were crossing the road, and that's a busy highway. Okay. And we had 4 deaths, women and men dying, trying to make it across the road, being killed. And again, before I became elected, I would go and I would talk. Listen, we need street lights. We need street lights. We need street lights. And I would go and talk. And finally, we got the street lights. And one of the guys said to me one day when I was coming home, he said, "Lois, you got your street lights?" I said, "Really?" And this was daytime. And I just, tears came up into my eyes. So I got in my car and I drove back down crying all the way. I said, "Lord, I've done it again. Thank you. Thank you." So we got the street lights. It's things that the Edisto Drive need. We've been overlooked for years. So now we have a chance to have growth coming out in this area, and some of the things that the community needs, the people need. And what more than having a septic tank in your backyard and it's running over and smelling up the whole neighborhood? Now you don't have that problem.
Wow.
Your sewer system has been corrected. Now you can see, you got street lights.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Well, you know, Mr. Lars, I just wanted to take this time because you're getting ready for June the 14th.
Yes.
And I want you to just kind of give a message. What message would you want to share with people about the upcoming elections and any kind of being an elected official, and what we need to be doing to get the right people, the servant leaders like yourself, in office?
Okay, I want to go back a few seconds, Tammy, and say something also about Orangeburg and the county library. Now, that's another good one that I like. And just recently, on last Thursday, we had a ribbon cutting for the Edisto Park. Okay.
Yes.
Clyde Livingston, you have to give him credit because he started it. He had the funding for it. And what I did, I had the opportunity to follow through. Now, that Edisto Park, believe it or not, it's beautiful. You can go down the trail, and as Janie Cooper called it, a resort. I like to call it memory lane. You can go down there and you can see a couple of snakes. At the end of it, you will see some tadpoles, something I hadn't seen in a long time. And the little tiny minnows, the little fish, I hadn't seen in a minute and stuff since I was a little child. We used to catch them and put them in jars, you know?
Yes.
You can go all the way down and put your feet in the water. And the Edisto River is the only black water running in the United States, and it runs for miles. Okay.
Wow. And so that, you know, so in itself, those types of things that you have done, as I tell people, you're servant leader, number one. Number two, I say you are amazing because when Dolores speaks, everybody listens. You know, I used to say E.F. Hutton.
Yes. Definitely.
And when you speak, everybody listens. So I want you to share a message with our viewers to tell them the importance of this election and any election coming up in the future?
Now, number one, elections and decisions, and mostly decisions are made at the ballot box. Anything that you want, like most people with the welfare system, the people then just didn't give us the welfare system. We had to fight for it. We had to vote. Everything that you have, you got to vote for it. And I always like to tell people, get up, go register, go and vote. And on my campaign, I have, I'm asking people to vote for Dolores Frazier. I want to go back, you see, and I want to continue. Yes, there's a lot to be done. It's a whole heap more that needs to be done, but you got to take it piece by piece. If we had billions of dollars, we could get it done tomorrow.
Yes.
But we don't have that. And taxpayers, if you run up the taxes too much, they're going to complain. And I'm one too who would complain. But the ballot box is the key thing here for people. Register, please register, and not just take that card and put it in your pocket. Go vote. Use it. Mm-hmm. The power of the ballot box is strong. Yes, and I would encourage everybody, register, vote. And you know what? With my campaign, if you need a ride, I'm offering rides. And if you need a babysitter, I'm offering babysitters. Okay. I have a team that we're working and doing. And we're offering all of those things. Now, let me give it a phone number to call since I'm talking.
Please.
Dolores Frazier, my phone number, 803-539-1895. Call that number if you need a ride to the polls to go vote. Be glad to take you.
Wow. Well, this is phenomenal. And I tell you, people being able, that's 803-539-1895.
Yes.
Mr. Dolores, Councilwoman Dolores Frazier, it was a pleasure having you on the show. You're going to have to come back after the election.
Well, this is one thing I want to close out with. As the Apostle Paul said in Isaiah, the Lord said, "Who will go and speak for my children?" And the Lord said, "Who am I? Send me." I want to be that person to speak, and I want to be your voice so that we can come to the table and sit down and compromise and come up with a solution, because everything is not given to us. And Lord knows we are not entitled, okay?
That's right.
Please,
right.
The ballot box, my phone number, I'll be glad to take you there. And again, as Apostle Paul said, send me.
All right.
I am the one.
All right. All right, Mr. Dolores, thank you so much for being on the show. I love you so much. Thank you.
And I love you too.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. You have
I appreciate your having me on your show.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Dolores. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be on the show.
Thank you very much. And as they say on the continent of Africa, in Nigeria, ga, meaning goodbye.
Ga. Goodbye.
And in Malawi, they said zikomo.
Zikomo.
Yes, I've traveled to many African countries and I've taken supplies over to the poor and those who are underprivileged. And the community here has helped.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I brag and tell people I'm on passport number 6.
All right.
I enjoy going over, speaking English using English as a second language to those persons. Matter of fact, I have a young man who calls me about every other day. He said, I'm helping him with his English.
Wow.
And I said, fine. He also want to come to America.
I know, and if it's up to you, he's gonna be here.
Well, I have been the guardian for 15 African students. And when I say African students, I know that it's from all these different countries: Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, Malawi, the Ivory Coast, Zambia, Uganda. Where else? Tanzania. Yeah. Tanzania. All of those countries. We've had students here at South Carolina State and Claflin. And once they get here, the international person there at the school get in contact with me. And I take those kids and put them under my arm. and I take them as my own. And everybody say, "Oh, do you have children?" I say, "Oh yeah, got a whole bunch of them."
Yes, you do. Well, Mr. Lars, we thank you so much for being on the show, and I look forward to you and much success to you. And may God continue to bless you.
Okay, listen, constituents and people of Orangeburg, press the button that says Dolores Frazier. That's a
Okay.
winner.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
God,
The ballot box. Thank you. Ka.
God. Thank you, Mr. Lars.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Zika mom.
Sycamore. I got it. Love you, Mr. Lawrence.
Love you too. Take care. Have a great day.
All right. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Listen, we'll be right back. As you can see, we had a great time talking with Councilwoman Dolores Frazier and District 6. Wish her all the best, as well as Judge Curry. All right, next guest. Tell you, we got to keep it moving. Next guest. This is this man. What can I say? Brooklyn native, married to his beautiful wife Tracy. He has four beautiful children. He is the executive director of Fathers Incorporated and the director of National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse. None other than I'm glad to introduce you to Mr. Kenneth Braswell.
Hey, Tammy.
Hey, Mr. Kenneth, what's happening?
How you gonna have me come on after Councilwoman Dolores Frazier, the Honorable Councilwoman
That's
Dolores
right.
Frazier?
That's
You needed. I was ready to call it. I yield my 15 minutes to the Honorable Frazier. That's what I was about to sit in the chat.
yeah, man. No, we had. I'm telling you, she is phenomenal. I mean, that's how she is all the time.
Yeah.
And she's a servant leader, so she's here to help everybody, just like you are.
Well, you
So
know
I
what I
want you to
got.
tell us, a little bit about the director of being the director of Fathers Incorporated. Let's talk about that.
And yeah, and so I started Fathers Incorporated in 2004 in New York. Quickly became the director for the New York State Fatherhood Initiative under Governor Pataki, and I ran programs across the state of New York for 5 years. And the Lord sent me back to where He started me, which was back to Fathers Incorporated. And so got back to Fathers Incorporated, married my bride about 6 months after I left. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? So I'm working, I'm making good money at the state, just put the ring on it and did all I was supposed to do. And I come to my home to my wife one day and I said, I'm about to quit my job. And she's like, where you going? I was like, I just got to go. God said it's time to go. Like, and she was silent, and I was like, man, I done got this, married this woman, brought it in, gave her good health benefits and all this, and then here I come walking in the door talking about I'm about to quit. And so, but she came to me the next day and she said, what did God tell you? And I said, He said it's time to go. And I said, okay. She said, okay, we're gonna do this. Fast forward 9 months later, we put in a bid for the National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and we won that bid that
Mm.
October. And we've had that contract since then. We've managed in the 12 years that we've had that contract, we've managed close to $60 million in fatherhood money nationally under that work. And then 7 years ago, moved to Atlanta from New York because I got tired of shoveling snow. Wanted to come back to my roots in the South. My family is indigenous to North Carolina, so I know the South. I'm country in my bones, but city in my spirit,
All
and
right.
so I know the South very well. And we've been just continuing our work here in Metro Atlanta, in addition to providing direct services to fathers here in the Metro Atlanta area.
Wow, you just said a mouthful. Being a CEO, a director of two organizations, and I'm saying CEO, being
Hmm.
that, doing that, and you have four children, you have a beautiful wife.
Hmm.
How do you, as I asked Dr. A, how do you balance or how do you keep that on
Hmm.
an even keel?
I actually have five, and so I think you're looking at a old bio, not an old bio.
Oh,
And so I have three, I have four girls and one boy. And so don't worry about not knowing it. So I'll tell you very quickly how the four came to five. And so the three came to four when I thought I was done. with children. And along comes what we describe our son as the surprise blessing, right? Wasn't
Mm.
expecting him, but the Lord said, "Here you go." And so I didn't have any boys in my life. All I had was girls. And so I love what Dr. A was talking about. He had that level of serenity over him when he was told. I didn't have that. I had the exact opposite. I was like, "What? How'd that happen?" Knowing how it happened, right? I'm looking at my wife talking about how did this happen? And so that was my son. He is now. He just turned 13 last December,
Hmm.
and he is doing his thing. And
Wow.
then I got another surprise blessing that just came out of the blue. My daughter, who was conceived when I was in the military, when I was 18 years old, I never knew anything about her.
Mm.
And she called me on 4th of July, right before I came down to Atlanta. And we talked, and I said to her, I said, "Listen," I said, "I don't know if you are or if you aren't." I said, "But here's what we're gonna do." I says, "I am until I'm not."
Mm.
I said, "I am until," and the reason I said that is because I put myself in her shoes.
Hmm.
And when I did that, what I said to myself is, if I was to call who I thought was my father, and his first thing was to deny me, what how would I carry my life forward with that level of denial if he found out that I was? And I was like, I am not doing that to her. I said,
Mm.
so I am until I'm not. Let's go and look and see if I am. And
Mhm.
then if I am, we'll go from there. If I'm not, we'll go from there too. But
Wow.
found out that we were, Maury did the test, and the
Hmm.
card came up and 99.9%, this baby is yours. And
That's you. That's your baby. You the baby daddy, as they
yeah,
say.
I'm the baby daddy.
Well, listen,
I
we got
didn't
a
run down the aisle, fall on the floor, knock the benches over. I didn't do all that stuff. I just took it and went with it. Um,
yeah.
and so, with all of that and the family and the work that we're doing,
Hmm.
Tammy, I just don't think about it. It's the
Hmm.
Lord's work. I was like,
Hmm.
if He put it on my shoulders to bear, I must be strong enough to carry it. And
That's
so,
right.
why am I going to sit around every day complaining about the small things in life that really don't matter? When I'm listening to Councilman Frazier, and she's making it very clear that you just do the things that God tells you to do. You don't have to do everything.
Right.
Just shepherd the sheep that hear your voice. And so I
Mm.
don't walk into this space trying to serve millions and millions of people. I'm like, the Lord, whoever you put in front of me, that's who I'm here to serve. I'm not going to desire to be this organization, that organization, this person. I'm only going to do what you commissioned me to do with Fathers Incorporated.
Wow, wow, you said it, because and I've been talking about how God has led me at this point, and how He has allowed me to meet wonderful people like you and Dr. A, and even my production team, Tiana and Willie and Felicia, just to be able to do that. And I ask God every morning, like Kenneth, let me be a blessing to somebody today.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. So we want to show the picture of your family. And I also did mention in your intro, wow, look at that beautiful family.
So let me tell you a story of this picture. And so when I talk about not only doing this work, but living this work. If
Hmm.
you throw the picture back up for a second, there's 5 people in that picture. Not all of them are my children. So on the left is Amber, which is my under turns my stepdaughter. It's my wife's daughter, but she is every much of my daughter as any other of my children.
Hmm.
And that's my son. And that's my wife with my hands around, and that's my youngest daughter, Nzinga, who was my game changer. Right
Mm.
behind Nzinga is her mother, which is one of my baby mamas, so that you understand who she is.
Right.
But the reason I love this picture is because this is our relationship. And in Fathers Incorporated, my wife serves as my CFO because of her, serves as my COO as my organization. And Shani, who's my youngest daughter's mother, serves as my CFO of my
Wow.
organization. So
Wow.
the backbone of what holds Fathers Incorporated together from a structural perspective is the two women that are closest to the things that I love the most in my life. And so that's what my work is about. It's about the creation of real family, not textbook
Mhm.
family. I'm talking about people who are connected by love, connected by legacy, connected by dreams, connected by goals, connected by passion.
Mm, wow, you said it. Ooh, that's amazing. Because when you're looking at, you're living it. You're
Yes.
not just telling people about it. You know,
Hmm.
when people say they and this organization, they do this, they do that, but you're living it. And
Hmm.
that's the thing that makes your organization, makes your family, makes you so special. And hey, listen, I'm just grateful you on the show. As you said, you wanted to yield. No, you weren't going to yield. We needed to talk to you. So, I did mention earlier, folks, in the introduction, that Mr. Braswell is also an author. You've authored several books.
So, yes, I did my autobiography first because I felt like I needed to not only tell my story, but I needed to understand my life from my lens. And so I wrote that book to really begin to see it as a foundation and a landscape for where I was going.
Mhm.
And then I got this bug to like write these children's books because I really wanted to create books that had particularly Black fathers as the central theme of the book. And
Mm.
so often you see family books, the dad is there, but he's off on the side sitting in the recliner, or he watching TV, or he grilling, he doing one of the, or he
Right.
fixing the house, one of those
House.
things. In all of my books, the dad is present in the center of the family, but he's not present by himself. He's present with his wife. And so, what
Mm.
I want children to see is that all these kind of social responsibility characteristics that we want our children to build, they should be able to see them through the lenses of their family, whether they are together or not. I often tell my dads, you don't have to be in a relationship to have a relationship. Those are two totally different things. Nah, she don't want a hug from you no more. Right? There are other things that you have to do for this relationship to make her feel as comfortable, committed, loving, and secure as you would like her to be without having to be in a romantic relationship. It's not about that anymore. It's about your child. And so I wrote those children's books to really begin to give parents a way to have difficult conversations with their children. And so my first book, Daddy, There's a Noise Outside, literally came out of my son seeing me on CNN during the Freddie Gray indictments in Baltimore. And
Mm.
he saw all the police around me. He was at home and he asked my wife, why was I there with all of those police? And I said, and so when I came in the house, I said, you know what, give me a minute, because that's what men do. We walk in the house. It's like, give me a second. I need to woosah, come down a minute, and then I'll come back. And what I realized when I went into the room is that while I had an answer, I didn't have a 6-year-old answer. And so when I came out, I talked to him about the what, not I talked to him about the what, not the why. And the what he saw was protest. And now let me help you understand what it means to protest. And so my analogy to him was, you know how you respond when I tell you you can't play your Xbox and you go into your room and you stomp and you close your door and you mad? He goes, yeah. I said, that's protest. That is you voicing your opinion about something that you don't like. And it's your way of getting me to understand that you don't like what you're seeing. That's what you saw on TV. What you saw on TV is a community that does not like what's happening in this community, and it has responded in a certain way. And so it gave me the ability to talk to him about protest. And so I was telling my friend about it. He said, man, you got to write that book. You got to write that
Mm.
children's book, because parents need to be able to kind of understand that space from that perspective. And I wrote it, and that book just took off. And then I got the bug, and then I wrote a book about health, and then about family, and then about and then the last one was about grief. The last one
Mm.
was about grief, because I really wanted to. There were two young men, 9-year-old boys. My son was 9 at the time, that were murdered within a week of each other. I
Mm.
believe it was a week or 2 months of each other in Chicago. And I remember talking to a friend of mine in Chicago, and I said to him, "Man, I wonder what the kids must be going through
Mhm.
the next day." And he said to me, he says, they're not going through anything. They're used to that. And I said, what? He says, no. He says, they're used to that. I said, No child is used to that level of trauma and should ever be used to that level of trauma. And so I wrote the book, Daddy Can I Cry, to help parents talk to their children about how to process grief at their ages, because our young people are losing young people.
That's
Tell
right.
me, I don't know. I'm sure I'm much older than you, but when I go back through, when I look at my high school years, my primary school years from K to 12, I don't remember never ever losing a friend to violence by death nor by gun, not one, and
Mm,
only remember one young lady who was pregnant before she graduated. One. That's out of my 12 years. And I'm talking six, I'm talking up. I graduated in 79. Right.
mm,
So that goes to show you how fast time thing. But now talk to a child that's in first, second, third, or fourth
third
grade
grade. Yeah,
that's living in Chicago, New York. Hell, they living in Aiken, South Carolina,
that's right.
right?
That's
They
right.
have seen violence, they've seen death, they've seen grief, they've seen family dysfunction and dynamics, and we're not having those conversations with our
Conversation.
children,
Yeah,
which is why I'm so adamant and dogged about making sure that fathers are in the lives of their children, because it's important for them to be there for those conversations, to stimulate those conversations, regardless of whether or not they're under the same roof or not.
that's right. And I think it's so, and you said something so important that they really need to understand that. They really need to be, to understand that, hey, you know, it's okay to, it's okay. Grief is okay. You have permission to grieve. And
Hmm.
I think that we don't take the time, as you said, to talk with our children about serious topics. And so
Hmm.
that's when they start acting out and they start doing things that may seem different. And
Hmm.
so man, I could talk to you all night, but we don't have all
I
night.
know we don't. I'm
So,
sorry. I
so,
went
so
long too. I'm
listen,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay, Ken, because what I want to do is have you come back on.
Hmm.
We'll work out a time where you can come back on and we can talk about some of the books that you have and also deal with some of the topics that people
Mm,
have been asking about.
okay.
And I think that you're the person that can really bring that out. I may even have you come down here to South Carolina. I'm from
I'm with
Charleston,
it. I'm
but
going. I'm with it.
we're gonna have you come down here. I know Dr. A is still looking, and so we're gonna have you come down here. And Dr. A, we got to get together, have a little conference or something.
Yeah,
See,
I'm
okay,
with
he's shaking his head.
it.
So Kenneth, before you leave, I just want to ask you, just give us one piece of advice or wisdom that you would have for new fathers, and then of course, my last question will be 3 words that describe you. So that first one.
The one piece of advice that I would give to dads is simply, you are dad, period. There's no if, ands, and buts after you are dad, or in my case, I am dad. You're not dad if you can pay child support. You're not dad if you have custody. You're not dad if you're in a relationship. You're not dad if these things. You are dad, period. No questions asked. So show up like dad, because nothing else matters to your children other than that they know that you are dad, period.
That's right. Wow. And the 3 words that describe you.
Oh, I was thinking about my 3 words. I was like, I got like 15 of them. I was trying to break them down to three, but I did come down to what I believe is the most three pressing words right now in my life:
Okay.
intentional, unapologetic, and unwavering.
Unapologetic and unwavering. Intentional, unapologetic, and unwavering. Wow, Kenneth. I want to thank you so much for being on the show and thank the Miss Tracy and the rest of your family so that we could share this time with you.
Thank you
We
so much.
really
I appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. And I
Appreciate
look
you as
forward
well.
to talking with you.
Me too.
I'm gonna give you a call because I
Mhm.
think we can do some things and have you come down here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Kenneth.
All right.
Be blessed. And
You
thank
too.
you again. God continue to bless you.
Bye bye. Take care.
Okay, bye bye. Okay, folks. I tell you what, yeah, we had some technical difficulties, but you see, we know what to do. Just make it work, right, Dr. A? Just make it happen, right, Kenneth? Just make it happen. Do what you do. That's what I say. Do what to do. So anyway, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you all for being on the show. I want to thank my guest today, Dr. Luis Almeida. Judge Tammy Curry, Tamara Curry, I call her Tammy, Councilwoman Dolores Frazier, and of course, who you just heard from, Mr. Kenneth Braswell. I want to thank you all for being on the show. I want to thank, of course, as always, my producers, Tiana, Willie, and Felicia for doing such a great job. And Mama Joyce, want to thank you for sitting in the studio with us today. Listen, please subscribe to the Tammy TV show on YouTube. Let's remember, be a blessing to somebody today and every day. And I just want you to be safe out there. Have a safe and wonderful week, and may God continue to bless you. Love you much. Bye-bye.